My name is Kshudi. I was born in Los Angeles on June 8th, 1952, and I lived with my mother and father in a town called Santa Ana. And at the age of 8, my parents separated and I moved to Laguna Beach, California, where I went to school there. And when I was in high school there, many of the people were vegetarians. And this was during the hippie times, so people were smoking marijuana and drinking beer, and boys and girls getting together for dating was a big thing. So I was living the life like that, but the high school was 1/3 vegetarian when I was in this town. And many of my friends used to say that someday, for real spiritual life, we have to give up illicit sex and intoxication. But we won't do it yet. It's like the Christian saint Augustine said, "God, please make me chaste to you, but don't do it yet." So they were thinking this, but at least they had the idea that for spiritual life you have to be willing to give up things. And we find that Krishna teaches that as we surrender unto him, he rewards us. And every step we take to him, he takes 10 steps to us. So certain things happen in my life to have me take steps to Krishna. There were people, the hippie people from the Brotherhood of Love. They had a big health food store and a clothing store. And there was a big music concert in 1967 at the Orange County Fairgrounds. So I went to there to hear the bands play. And at the end, the people from the mystic arts world started chanting this song. And I said, "What's this song?" They said, "Well, a Swami on Pico Boulevard in LA taught us how to sing this." And it goes like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so I sang that with them, and I said, "Where did they learn this?" They said, "Well, a Swami named Prabhupada on Pico Boulevard has a Hare Krishna temple there." So after chanting that with them, a couple days later, I was a friend of mine were in the canyons behind Laguna Beach, and he was shooting at animals. And then he squished the dove, which is the bird of peace. The doves are very special because they stay together for life. You always see the pair of them together, and he squished one with a rock. And I said, "That's a cruel thing to do." He said, "Well, you eat meat, don't you?" I said, "Yes, don't most of us?" He said, "Well, how many animals do they have to kill for you to eat meat?" I said, "Probably a lot." He said, "So does it make me any worse to kill one more bird than for you to eat all those animals?" I said, "You're right." So he said, "It's okay for me to kill the bird?" I said, "No, I'll never eat meat ever again." And I haven't, and that was 1967. So because I'd taken the step to Krishna by chanting, Krishna provided the ways and means for me to see what eating animals really meant, that poor animals had to suffer. And when that became clear, it was easy to just put it aside and go on to the next thing. Now many people in America are doing this. Even Bill Clinton gave an interview on CNN, an international news story, about how he was so happy to get the meat out of his life and become a vegetarian. So from there, I used to go see my friends at the Mystic Arts World, and some of them worked in a bookstore. So I would read this one book that was in the bookstore. It was all spiritual books. It was called Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and it said that bhakti just means that we ask God for some way to serve him. We don't look for something for ourselves. So I had a special meditation rock I used to go to. This was like 1969 by now, and I'd been a vegetarian a couple years. And so I'd go to this rock and pray for some way to develop love of God. Finally, on January 5th, 1970, I went to pray for some way to develop love of God, and I got this real strong inspiration that if I really want love of God, I have to give up illicit sex and intoxication. I thought, well, I'll have a couple more beer parties, and I'll try to date a couple girls I've been trying to date, and I'll give it up in June when high school is over. And then I thought, it's either a good idea or it's not a good idea. And I said, it's kind of a tall order for me to give up these things as a teenager in Laguna Beach. I said, but all right, God, I will give up the illicit sex and the intoxication, and you send me some way to develop love for you. So I thought, how long will it take me to find out? A week, a month, a year? I opened my eyes, and maybe 20 meters away was a devotee walking in my direction. And I said, what are you doing down here on the beach? He said, well, we were at the next beach over, up on the hill, chanting up there. And all of a sudden I had this uncontrollable compulsion to come down to the beach. He said, would you like to come and chant with us? I said, I think that's exactly what I'm supposed to do. So I went up and chanted with them, and they told me that on Mondays and Wednesdays, they have the Bhagavad Gita class. So I started coming to that on Mondays and Wednesdays for a couple weeks. And then I went on a Sunday, and there I saw a friend of mine from high school, Bob, was going, and I always joke with him, he's now Bhadrinarayan Swami. I say he joined in the 60s because he joined in 69, and I didn't start coming till January of 70. But we would stay at the temple Saturday night, and myself, Bhadrinarayan, and another boy named Bayahari, and we would help the devotees cut up vegetables and prepare a Sunday feast, and then we'd have the kirtan and the artik, and at 2 o'clock, we would get as many cars as we could, fill them all up, and go to LA to see Prabhupada and have a second feast. So we had 2 feasts in a day, and we got to see Prabhupada too. And one of the times second time I went to LA, everyone would line up for Prabhupada to touch them on the head. And there was no room for me, so I knelt in the gutter. And Prabhupada passed me, the car door opened so you couldn't see me, and Prabhupada got in the car. And when it shut, he could see that I was in the gutter, and he touched everyone else's head but mine. So he got back out of the car and he says, oh, Hare Krishna, and touched me on the head. And this gave me great inspiration because I immediately felt very, very purified from this. And it was amazing how Krishna gave me clear signs of what to do. One day in high school, I was on a Saturday, we went to the swap meet to sell books and incense, to get money from the incense for the temple and sell books to spread the philosophy. And I thought, God, if this is the right, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I said, send me someone who's wearing a flower and have them tell me whether I'm doing the right thing or not. And then I thought, you know, in India, many people wear flowers and garlands, but in America, people don't wear flowers. So I thought, how is somebody going to come wearing a flower and tell me whether I'm doing something right or not? So all of a sudden, this one man is looking at the books, and he says, you know what, this is good stuff. He says, you should keep selling these and keep doing this. And I looked up, and he had a shirt, and it was a printed shirt with flowers on the shirt. And I realized there's more than one way that you can have flowers on the shirt. It doesn't have to be real flowers, a print of flowers all over the shirt. And he was so emphatic about, this is great stuff, that I could see that this was my message from Krishna. So this was how I came to Krishna Consciousness. And when I finished high school, I went with my parents to Europe. And there one day I was praying outside the La Coupole restaurant, please Krishna, send me the devotees somewhere, and I heard them chanting. And so I joined in the Paris, France temple. And from there I went to India to be initiated by Prabhupada, the spiritual master. And in '72 I went to South Africa to start a temple. and was arrested for breaking the apartheid laws because our philosophy is we're not black or white or Indian. And the South African government separated the people by races because they wanted to keep the blacks and the Indians down. So I got arrested for this, and I was sent out of the country. So I went back to America to sell books about Krishna, and then I got married and had 2 children, and did some preaching and some work. And now I've retired to come spend time in India, gaining the spiritual culture here, and going back to the places like South Africa to preach, because now a new government is there, which likes me to talk at peace conferences, because the idea of mixing people together and looking at everyone with the same spiritual spark actually creates security. During the old days, that was called a violation of the National Security Act, but it actually creates security when we look at everyone with the same spiritual spark. In my life, I found, as I said in the beginning, that as you surrender to Krishna, he rewards you. And you see the times I took steps to Krishna, he immediately took steps to me. And I've found this happen in life, that when we chant several ways. We do a kirtan with instruments, and we sing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Another way we chant is we take the beads like these. There's 108 beads, and we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then again the next beat, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's 108 beads, and that's called one round. And by using the beads, we're centering our sense of touch. We're listening to the words, so the mind becomes concentrated on that. And I found in my life that this purifies me. It takes away the desires for material things. It makes me feel peaceful. And you can feel Krishna's presence, and it makes you want to progress more and more to him. So when we take the steps to Krishna, it's like doing a scientific experiment. You know, whether gasoline will catch on fire. If you never added a match to it, you won't know. Or whether the electricity will create a spark, or whether the light will go on. If you haven't experimented with it to turn the light on, or to see if the electricity will work, then you won't know. But when we experiment and approach Krishna by chanting his name, by doing service for him, by reading his instructions in Bhagavad Gita, and the stories about how he comes to the earth in Srimad Bhagavatam, we actually feel that we're making progress in spiritual life. So we find, to begin, we go to a temple where other people are chanting on beads and doing the singing chanting, and we read the literatures by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, particularly starting with Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. And when we read these, very clear instructions about the difference between the body and the soul are given, and ways that we can realize the soul are also given. So it's a very scientific process. By reading Bhagavad Gita, it tells us what we can do to actually make spiritual progress. So I urge you to try the chanting, visit a temple, see the other participants in this spiritual life. They become very great people to become friends with, because all they care about is you making spiritual progress. They don't need money from you. They don't need to find faults from you. They're only interested to see you grow spiritually. And when we chant, associate with other devotees, and read these books, we will definitely feel that our life is getting better, and we definitely won't regret it. Thank you very much.